How's it? Welcome back. So I've been doing this whole remote viewing experiment thing here as of late, and for the first I don't know, 5-6 days of it, I was super into it. I was watching videos every day. I was reading stuff about it. I was listening to podcasts about it. I was practicing my stuff daily, collecting my results, because I do plan on, once I feel like I collected enough info on it, sharing my results and kind of giving my stance on the whole thing. But the past chunk of days, like 5-6 days, it's totally fallen off my radar. I mean, I haven't been doing anything with it whatsoever, so I got to get back to it. But that's not what I wanted to make this video about. What I wanted to make this video about was a little wrinkle that I've added to my liminal dream hypnagogic stage 1 of sleep meditation practice that I got from remote viewing, and it's been helping out a surprising amount. So when you remote view, at least in my current understanding of it, and I'm still quite new to this whole thing, there's a few ways to do it. So one way to do it is you do it when you're fast asleep in a REM style dream. Another way to do it, which is the main way I've been doing it for my experiment thing, is you're wide awake, eyes essentially open. I mean, you can close them here and there to kind of quiet the mind down and try to see what comes up in your head. But basically wide awake, eyes open, pen and paper in hand. And then you're trying to remote view or see a picture that someone else has picked out and is hiding from you. And then the third way to do it, and this is the main way I thought it was done, before I started learning more about the practice. So the third way to do it is you do it in like a deep trance-like meditative state, which I just took to be kind of assumedly that it was going to be, more this, hypnagogic type work. And when it comes to hypnagogic meditation, which is what I like to call it, basically stage 1 of sleep, mental imagery, get there, lucidly aware, I am very good at getting there. Like, as long as you give me the right conditions, and all I mean by the right conditions is like someplace where I can like lie down to start falling asleep and not be bothered, I can essentially get there every single time. And so you'll hear some parts of the remote viewing community, and they'll say that when you're in that state, this whole like liminal hypnagogic type state, you actually are remote viewing right then, right? So like, I don't know, I guess you're like spying on people in real time in different parts of the world, right? But what I found interesting about it is simply having that perspective, or that thought that, when you're in this state, it has to be a deeper state of hypnagogia, right? So you have the early stages of hypnagogia where it might just be like a soft diffused light. It gets a little bit deeper. Maybe you see like a flash, a still image of a picture or something. But then when you get deeper, it tends to be like a solid, stable, moving image. Almost like, I like to say it's similar to like watching a movie in like a really wide screen or something like that. But if you can get down to that deeper state to where it actually is moving, and if you have this perspective that, hey, I'm actually like, spying in on people in real time, that works really great at keeping you in that state and keeping you lucidly aware. Because what basically happens is like this. I mean, you got to find the right balance, right? You're either too lucid and too conscious, and then it causes you wake up too much, blacks everything out, right? Or what normally happens when we fall asleep, you get caught up in the narrative and the story and the imagery of what's going on, you lose your conscious awareness, and then you just fall asleep like you typically do. So I found that having this perspective that really, what I really think it is, it's like the inquiry part. It kind of gets you intrigued in what you're seeing. And so it gets you watching it from like a different perspective, which helps to keep you one step removed from what's going on and keep you lucid without getting wrapped up back in it. And it also has been helping me to stay there and not wake up too much. So it's been really beneficial. And I've been having a lot more wilds lately, which has been pretty cool. I'm not sure what that's from. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it actually is from, because it started happening like a couple months ago. I think a lot of it is from Michael Rodriguez's book, The Phase. But then I've also been reading this other book called The Wild Way to Lucid Dreaming, which we'll probably be hopping into here in the near future. And that's all about wilds, obviously, by the name. So I've been having them a lot more often, but then I also think this little wrinkle that I picked up from the remote viewing practice has helped me have even more wilds. So like the other night, I did end up getting lucid off of this whole remote viewing perspective thing the other night. And so at first, even when the images are moving, when they first pop up, they'll still be there for a little while. They'll black out, another one will pop up. And the way that I generally think it works, it's like whatever thoughts you have going on in your head, once your like external senses quiet down and you're creeping down into sleep, it just makes that stuff pop up a lot harder. So I look at it more like thoughts popping up versus I actually am spying on some other people, at some other part of the world or whatever. But anyway, so I'm seeing these scenes, they're popping up, they're leaving, another one pops up, it leaves. And then when you get more used to the state, you can tell when you're getting deeper into it and when you're getting close to either having stage 1 of sleep end, or having stage 1 of sleep end and you're going to start to slip into REM, right? And so one of the kind of a good and bad thing, but I'm getting really shit sleep as of late. My sleep has really tanked again lately, where I've been getting like 5.5 hours of sleep or something terrible like that. So I strung a bunch of those days together. So at this point, when I was going to sleep, I was very tired, which is good because it makes hypnagogia come on quicker. But then it's really good for wilds, because it increases the likelihood of you going from when you initially go to sleep at night, from you going from these early stages of sleep directly into REM. When normally what happens when you go to sleep at night and you're not super sleep deprived, you'll go from these early stages of sleep, stage 1, stage 2, into stage 3, 4, which is like the deep sleep stuff, which they used to call dreamless sleep, although I think it's been pretty well established that it's not really dreamless. Like, there still is an experience to be had there. It's just that it's a lot harder to stay consciously aware and lucid through that state. Although from my understanding, there are some like Tibetan dream yoga masters who can do that no problem. That's like been a big goal of mine for a long time, and I think like I've gotten kind of close to it here and there over the years. But from well, the main book I'm thinking about, so like Andrew Holochek's book, which I read like many years ago, but I'm pretty sure he was saying it in his book when he talks about it. He calls it sleep yoga, that sleep yoga versus dream yoga. Dream yoga is like the lucid dreaming stuff. But he was saying that when you get to this sleep yoga stage, you really know it, because it's like drastically different. So I've been in lucid dreams that kind of got all blacked out, and I was standing in blank nothingness, and I was wondering if that was the soul sleep yoga stuff. But then again, it wasn't so ineffable and mind-blowing of an experience that I'm not sure if it was. And from my understanding, if you're not sure that it is, then it probably wasn't. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Don't even know where I was in. Oh yeah, so I'm watching these different pictures pop up, and so now this one scene pops up where I'm seeing like this really crowded mall with tons of people in it, and it's really like brightly lit. And then I could tell I was getting closer and starting to sink into REM. I focused on a picture, I got sucked into it, and then instead of me just seeing this image of a mall full of people, now it's like I was in it in the first person, and had a lucid dream from that point. And it also did feel like a lucid dream. It got, it was basically like a common lucid dream for me. It didn't feel like I was actually in their spine on real people. Another reason, right before I end this, that I think that when you're in that state, that it's gonna, it's not gonna always be. Maybe it is sometimes. You're remote viewing and spying on people in real time, or seeing the future or something like that. Another reason why I don't think it is that always is because you can learn to control this state, right? So basically, all you got to do is you start, like, when the images are popping up and disappearing and popping up and disappearing, you start seeding thoughts into your head about the next type of image that you want to pop up. And then you just see if that image that pops up is more to your liking, if it's more along the lines of the seeding thoughts that you've been placing into the back of your mind. And then, just keep rinsing and repeating that until you get to an image or a scene or an environment that you do like more, that you did bring up with some level of purposeful control. And then you hold on to that in the hypnagogic state. And then if you're lucky enough to go from this hypnagogic state into REM, and then you can have a wild and then enter a full-on dream, basically to your choosing from the very beginning. So anyway, with that said, that'll wrap it up. Until the next video, keep your remote viewing, your hypnagogic practice legit.